Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi everyone. Today I would like to present our research with the title Immersive Virtual Reality in Preserving Historical Tourism. There are 6 authors from the Faculty of Computer and Mathematical Sciences, University Technology Mara, Cawangan Melaka, Campus Jasin, and 1 author from Department of Computer Science Education, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. We go for the first section, which is abstract. The tourism industry in cultural heritage has been adversely affected by the spread of the virus COVID-19. This study focuses on preserving the cultural heritage of artifacts and sustaining tourism activities for the history of Hang Tuah Village in Melaka, Malaysia, through immersive virtual reality technology. Tourists can interact within the surrounding village, interact with the artifacts, and experience more enjoyable learning history using the immersive virtual reality. There is no travelling required, and the exploration at its places is safer due to no COVID-19 exposures and no disturbance to the heritage place. We evaluate the usefulness of immersive virtual using the User Experience Questionnaire that originally has 16 dimensions. 5 dimensions are applied: attractiveness, perspicuity, reliability, utility, and novelty. A total number of 17 questionnaires are involved and tested on 35 respondents. As a result, the acceptability reached high with an average mean score of 4.06 or 81.2% from the overall score. With a high acceptance response, we conclude that immersive virtual reality can assist in sustaining the tourism industry to preserve the heritage of Hang Tuah Village. Now we move to the introductions. Melaka is one of Malaysia's 14 countries that have been recognized by UNESCO's World Heritage List on July 8, 2008 as the best example of a heritage city enriched with its own culture. Melaka is a city of Peninsular Malaysia's southern coast. The region has a total land area and divided into Melaka Tengah, Alor Gajah, and Jasin. Melaka is a famous historic country that has been prosperous for decades and boasts various tourist attractions. In reality, tourism in services industry accounted for 46.6% of the gross domestic product (GDP) as the country's most significant financial industry. Hang Tuah is one of Melaka's most famous heroes, serving as a role model for both the young and elderly in the 15th century. Hang Tuah Village, or HTV, is a village located in Kampung Duyung, Melaka. It is the birthplace and home of Hang Tuah. The Hang Tuah Center in Kampung Duyung, around 7 kilometers from Melaka City, has formally opened to the public. What is our problem statement? The problem associated with obtaining funding and sustaining cultural heritage. These obstacles, including establishing a strong product status, ensuring ongoing availability, generating visitor interest, locating the product in a desirable location, promoting the product effectively, and competing with other cultural products in the same market sector. Historic sites are one of the challenges that need preserving for future generations. Commercialization of this historical area is one strategy to promote cultural heritage products. As a result, this priceless legacy might serve as a reminder to people worldwide. However, concern about the conservation and validity of these works of cultural property. The difficulties and drawbacks of Melaka's tourism attractions include inadequacy and a lack of staff, increasing operating expenses, increased visitor demand, and intense competition among tourist hotspots. Malaysia's urban conservation divided into 3 categories: buildings preservation, parks preservation, and cultural resources preservation. Governments of local, governments of the federal and state, the museums and antiquity department, trust, historical, and other relevant organizations have together adopted urban conservation policies and guidelines. Nevertheless, several of Malaysia's heritage cities experience increased urban difficulties due to rapid population growth, industrial and commercial development, and urbanizations. We identify the following 5 categories of hazard: urban pattern disruptions, vanishing townscape, visual monotony, changing activity pattern, and obsolescence and gentrification. Unfortunately, during the COVID-19 pandemic, it was a law that prohibited individuals from entering or leaving an area. The MCO imposed limit on social interactions, the closure of schools and universities, the prohibitions of gatherings and all scheduled events. It also affected economics, particularly tourism sectors, through supply and demand effects. Therefore, this paper's main objective was to propose virtual reality (VR) to overcome these limitations. It reacts as the marketing approach for tourist innovations that may add the value of the properties and cater to the demands of contemporary living. We are focusing on exploring HTV through immersive VR technology to enhance a new viewpoint on understanding history. Individuals can tour the HTV and engage with the historical artifacts that surround them. Now we move to the related word. The first one is the virtual reality. VR described as the use of the three-dimensional computer-generated environment called a virtual environment. Users can tour, discover, traverse, and communicate using one or more 5 sensors in time simulations. VR intends to present an immersive virtual experience that makes the user feel the real experience as at the real place using the sensory. Numerous virtual reality gadgets developed in the past for a variety of purposes such as Sensorama and Sword of Damocles. Later, modern and sophisticated VR devices launched, such as the Cardboard VR, the Google Daydream, the Gear VR, Oculus Rift, the Vive, and the Sony PSVR and Microsoft HoloLens that comes with the hologram and wireless control. There are 3 distinct varieties of VR, including the non-immersed, semi-immersed, and fully immersed virtual reality. This study uses the immersive VR application. Thus, users can interact with the HTV to make the experience more enjoyable in learning history, interact with the historical objects in the environment with HMD. Now we move to the research method. The research method consists of the 3 parts, which is the design and development, the flowchart diagram, and the third one is evaluations and acceptance. For design and development, it divided into 2 parts. The first one is the software and hardware requirement. The second one is overall process diagram. For the software and hardware requirement, it divided into 3 parts. The first one is Autodesk 3ds Max. It designed to construct the 3D models, animations, and digital images, and it was a famous computer graphic tools. It used to modeling the houses of the Hang Tuah and Hang for the properties and objects. And the second one is the Unity. Unity, we use it to create the HTV environment and scenery. And the third one is the computer specifications, that we need to have a high-spec computer in order for us to develop the software. For the second part is overall process diagram. It consists of the 6 phases, which is start with the data requirements, the storyboards, the 3D elements, cinematic design, integrations, and finally testing. This is the flowchart diagram of the system, where user can choose to go to the Hang Tuah house or Hang Jepat's house. Now we move to the result and discussion part, which consists of 2 parts. The first part is the functionality testing. For the functionality testing, we will test all the interface that are available in the system. The first one starts with the application of the start For the second part of the result and discussions, we evaluating the user experience. As mentioned before, we use the user experience questionnaires and we adapt the 5 dimensions here, and we give the questions to the 30 respondents to get their feedback related to the system. As you can see here in the slide, the average overall mean score that we get is 4.01, and with the average percentage of the mean score is 81.2. As we know that there are 3 ranges, which is the low range within 1.00 to 2.33, consider the system is low. The medium is from the range 2.34 to 3.67, and for the high range is between 3.8 to 5. So since the system managed to get 4.01, we can say that the system was considered at the high level of the usability acceptance. As the conclusions for this research, we can say that the research main objective is to overcome the constraints in tourism activities during the COVID-19 pandemic. Since we are implementing the HRHMD, local tourists can visit HTV without leaving their residence while providing an almost accurate presentations of the village itself in the 3D environment. This study used an adapted 6 UEQ to measure the participants' experience and acceptability towards the applications. The test was explicitly in testing the functionality and the usability of the system. Respondents test the system and answer the survey questionnaires that measure the user's experience rather than the subjective topic. In total, 17 questions were generated based on the selected 5 dimensions in UEQ, which are attractiveness, perspicuity, dependability, usefulness, and novelty as the technical terms related to the experiences. For future research, we propose a complete environment for HTV. With that, user can feel like they are at the actual locations and add more artifacts in the application for more knowledge and experience. With that, we end our presentation. Thank you very much.